Okay, so hi all. Today we are going to discuss a question. I have posted this in our alumni group, right? This is the question. I think this was the question, right? Maybe my data will be shuffled a little bit. Okay, I think this was not there. Let me remove this. So this was the table. Select a star from input. So we have this table, input table. In this input table, I have this data. This is the data. A very interesting question. So here you have to find the the columns which has null value. Okay. Can I request to go on mute? Please be on mute, guys. So here you have to find the columns which has null value. Now, generally we used to solve a question like the question will be to find null value in a particular column, right? Like I can ask that, okay, please check, do we have the null values in the name column, or fetch the records where we have null value in the name column. So we used to write where name is null, right? And if I will execute this query, so this will give me the records if there is any null. So in this name we don't have null, so I'm not getting any output. Correct? You all know this. Similarly, there is a question like find the records where there is null value in address one column. Add one is address one. We'll write this query. Add one is null. So it means we are trying to search null records in this add one column, right? And this is the output. It means in the ID2, we have null in the add one. Similarly, if you have to find in address two, so you will write this query and you will write add two, correct? This is a simple question where you know exactly in which column you have to search for the null value, correct? This is one set of question which is very simple. So here you know like in which column you are searching the null, and just you have to know this is null, that whenever you are searching for null value you should use is null. Okay, this question is simple because you know in which column you are searching null. That's why this question is simple, correct? So far so good to everyone. I hope you all know this, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Right, but here in this question which I'm asking, I'm telling to you that I have this table input. I have four columns here. Okay. Maybe I can have more than four columns. I have suppose 30 columns, 40 columns, right? Try to understand the business context of this question. Okay. I may be having 30 columns, 40 columns, or more than that. And assume that all the columns are mandatory. Mandatory means they must be having some values of nulls are not allowed. I will request everyone to switch off your video. Okay, the class is getting disturbed because of you. So please uh, uh, take care of this. Okay, you are disturbing the entire class. I don't want to call out the name. So please switch off your video, everyone. Okay. Now, so here, so when you have a lot of columns and you don't know that where you have null, and all the columns are mandatory, especially in few of the finance projects, it happens that most of the columns, they have the transactional data, okay, and all the column values are important. Important means it is mandatory. You don't have a scope for null, you want values, okay. Out of 30, 40 columns, even if a single column is having null value, that is a concern for you, and you have to raise that to the source team, right? So there you are not specific to a particular column. Like here, I told you that if I will ask a question that, okay, in this particular column, I'm searching null. It's simple. You will write this column name and you will write is null. It's a very simple question. I am very specific here that I want null. I want to search null in this particular column. You can directly write this query. But in this case, I am telling that, sorry, I, I, I don't want null at all in any of the columns. All the columns are mandatory for me. They all have some transactional data. I don't want null in any of the columns. If any of the columns is having null, you show me that column. In which column and for which particular ID, the value is null. And here, suppose this ID column is a primary key. It means there is no scope for null here. This is a mandatory column. This is a primary key. This will be having value mandatory. So now here to keep the thing simple, I have just taken 3 columns, name, add 1, add 2. But suppose if you have 30, 40, 50 columns and all are mandatory, then how you will write a query for that? First of all, is the question clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Question is clear to everyone. Very good use case. And especially I have seen in few finance projects, we have similar requirement. I hope the question is clear to everyone, right?
Yes.
So, good. So here I'm expecting the output to be 1, 2, and this one, the column should be here. Add 2, and this should be add 1. This is the output I want. Maybe the one which I have shared the screenshot in the alumni group, it might be different. Sorry, I forgot it, but this is equivalent to that, what I'm trying to explain you, okay? So this is the output I want. From this output, this is clear that in the ID column 1, in the ID column for the record 1, there is an add 2 column which has null value. Is that correct? For ID value 1, in add 2 column, you have null. For ID whose value is 2, in the column add 1, there is null. So ID 2 column add 1, the value is null. So this is what I want to display. And from this, it will be clear that in this particular ID and for this particular column, the value is null. Then your data engineers, they will just start checking that what went wrong, that this column has accepted null value. Hope the question is clear to everyone, right? Question is clear?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, this is clear. Now see approach. What I'm thinking, the very simple thing I'm thinking, okay, what to do here. Try to understand the approach first, and then we will jump into the SQL query. I'm thinking that if the question is to find null in a particular column, it's very simple. I will just write the column and I can write is null. I will get the output, right? You all know this. So what I'm thinking that suppose all these values, whether it is in name column or add 1 column or add 2 column, or even if I have 10 columns, 20 columns, 30 columns, 40 columns, whatever number of columns I have, and whatever volume of data it has. Here I know I have only 3 records. Maybe I have 1 million records, okay? I'm thinking that if I represent this data in this format, suppose this is ID and this is columns and this is data 1. ID 1, column name is name, data is John. ID 1, column name is add 1, data is Delhi. ID 1, column name is add 2, data is null. Similarly, ID 222, value is Suresh, value is null, value is Pune. Suppose how we will do it, don't think about it. I'm just telling you, suppose if we are able to represent this data in this manner, like for each ID, the corresponding columns and their values, like for ID1 in the name column value is John, is that correct? Right? For ID1 in the add one column, the value is daily. For ID1 in the add two column, value is null, right? Correct? So this is, suppose if you're able to actually, become 1 minute. Please switch off your video. 1 minute. I think now this is visible to everyone. Actually, I get distracted. So please, I hope you all know English. So you should follow this. You're all professional guys. Okay, I don't want to repeat it. Now, so ID1 in this particular columns, these are the values. Similarly, in ID2 in this particular column, these are the values, right? Now, suppose this data, if we are able to represent in this manner, how we will do, that's a different topic of discussion. Similarly for ID3, I will do this 3, 3, 3. Okay. And here, same thing, I will take this value and this Ramesh, Chennai, and this is Pune. Now, what I'm telling, suppose if I'm able to translate or represent this data in this format, then how this will help us. So here, what I have done, I have represented all this data except ID column in a one particular column. You agree or not? This data one?
Yes.
Correct. How we will do,
Yeah.
that's a different topic of discussion. Please don't think about it. And this is how you have to start thinking before solving a question. Don't directly jump to the SQL query. Make a strategy. That I'm thinking that if I have this question, I can solve it easily because the column I know. So I'm thinking, okay, all these values, I will keep it in a single column. If I'm able to do that, all these values I have kept in this data one column, right? If I'm able to do this, then what will happen? And suppose this table name is testing or anything. Suppose this table name is testing. Then I will write a query, select ID, comma, column from testing, where what I will write?
Data is null.
Data one
Is
Data one is null.
null.
null. Got it?
Yeah. Yes.
Then I will just write this query and then I will get this record in the output. I will get this record in the output, and this is what we want, correct? 1 add 2 we will get, and we will get this 2 add 1, and this is what we want. Is this approach clear?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
far I have not discussed anything about SQL query. Just the simple thing I'm telling that, okay, fine, this is what I will do. So I will get the output. From this, we understood that, okay, the main challenge here is how to represent data in this format. If we are able to represent data in this format, then after that, it's very simple to solve this question. Hope you all agree so far.
Yes.
Okay. My strategy is clear. So now
Yeah,
that
clear.
is what I'm thinking, that what should I do so that I should be able to represent it. Now, listen. I hope you all know there is a concept of pivot and unpivot, right? Many people term this, pronounce it as pivot or pivot, anything you can pronounce. So in unpivot, what happens? The columns are converted into rows, like this column, this column, this column. These are the 3 columns. This will be converted in rows. And actually, that is what I want to do here. This is one column. I want to convert this into row. This is another column, add one. I want to convert this into row. This is another column, add two. I want to convert that into row, right? So actually here from this presentation, I want to convert columns into rows. You agree?
Yes, sir.
Got it so far?
Yes, sir.
Now, so it means we have to use the concept of unpivot. And I will explain everything one by one. Don't worry. Even if you don't know unpivot, we will discuss it. So for that, and these columns, I want to term this as a new name as a column. Okay, so I will write here for columns n. Now, what all columns you want to convert into rows? Name, add one, add two, correct?
Yes.
So I will write here in bracket name, comma, add one, comma, add two. Now, you will tell here that Tanvir, in the question you have told that we should not write the column's name explicitly, right? Yesterday I have mentioned that the column's name you don't have to write explicitly in the query. And I appreciate many of you have solved the question and the output was correct. But you have used the column names, you have mentioned the column names. But that is again one of the constraint or the clause in this question that you don't have to write column names, because if this table has 50 columns, do you think you will write each and every 50 columns one by one? That will become a very hectic task, right? So that's why you don't have to write the column names. Now you will think here that Tanvir, but you're using it, right? I will tell you how I will bypass it. Don't worry about it. First of all, I'm showing you what is unpivot, and then I will bypass. I will remove this hard coding of columns. What I am doing here. So far, the meaning of this query is we are telling SQL engine that convert this name, this add one, and this add two columns into rows. And that particular header I want to be known as columns. That is what I have mentioned here. Is that clear?
Yeah, yes.
Clear to everyone, right? If you have any question, feel free and ask. Okay, you see this question, this kind of questions will sometime will be a deciding factor in your interview. Okay, so this is I have written. Now in this columns I want, apart from this, what else I want? Data one, and this is the main thing, right? So then I will tell that for this columns, I want the corresponding data one for these columns. Okay, I want the corresponding data. Okay, so this is clear. After this, I have to tell here SQL engine that I want to unpivot it. This is the syntax actually. I will tell I will unpivot it. Now on top of it, I will write select ID, comma, columns, comma, data one from input table. And I have written unpivot, and then I have to give here bracket as well. Now let me first of all execute this query. Okay, now this is the output. Let's try to understand this. This is the query. This is the output. I will repeat it, no issues. Now check this. What I'm telling here is every time, like whenever you are reading pivot or unpivot, always read it from here. First of all, you are telling that you want to convert this name, add one, comma, add two columns into rows. And you want to give that name as a column. So that is why this is represented as columns. You can write any other name. You have full freedom here. Okay. So now you see name, add one, add two, and all those things are converted from columns to rows. Is that clear? And then I'm telling for this columns, I want their corresponding values. And that's what I've written data one. So engine will understand for this columns, whatever values are there, user wants that to be represented in a new column with the name data1. And this is the unpivot syntax. And then here I'm using that I want to display ID. This columns you have derived. So I'm telling SQL engine to display, because select task is to display. It will display this. And then data1 is there. I'm telling to display data1. So data1 will be displayed here. Any questions so far?
Yeah, Tanvir. I
Yes,
have one
please go ahead.
question.
Yep.
So in this output, if you see, we are not getting the null values.
Good.
But here we are getting
Good
the null
analysis.
value. Yeah.
Good analysis. That Tanvir, in this table here for the ID1 you have null. For ID2 you have null. But when you have used this unpivot function, I could not see any null, right? The reason is by default, when you use unpivot function, it excludes the null. It will not show you the null values. Is that clear to everyone?
Yeah.
So
Clear? Okay.
Yes.
That is the behavior of unpivot. It will exclude null. But actually, that is the task here, to capture null. If I have excluded null, then how I will find it, right? So for that purpose, now I will tell SQL engine to please include nulls. Got it? Now see, I'm going to execute this query. And now please check the output. Hope this is clear now. Please
Yeah.
verify. Is this clear? Please don't attend this session with the only intention that I want the final query for this data. Try to understand what all topics, what all concepts I'm trying to cover during this journey. Okay. So maybe many of you don't know this include nulls. So now when I have used this include nulls, so you have this null here. You have this null here. So far, so good, clear to everyone?
yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Got it? So see how this data we transform in this format with the help of unpivot function. And I hope you understood the meaning of each and every line, each and every word here. Shall I proceed further?
Tanvi, just one thing.
Yes.
Like unpivot ignoring nulls, is
Hmm.
that the reason because of we are using in clause in that kind of
Here?
for the unpivot? Yes,
No,
because
this
generally
in.
in clause excludes that null part,
No,
right?
no. That
Okay,
in and this in are different.
okay.
I will prove you why it is different. Just give me some time. Today only I will prove that. But the in which you are thinking, very good question you have asked. The in which you are thinking that, then we use this query, select a star from employee where salary in, and we used to write some values here, right? This is what you're asking?
Yes, yes.
So this in and this in are different actually. I will prove in some time why it is different. Okay. And your concept is correct. You are telling that, Tanvir, you have taught us that if we have null here, so this in operator fails to capture null. So Tanvir, is that because it is failing to capture null? I think that's what you're asking, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I will come to that and I will tell you. But this is the
Sure.
reason it fails to see. If this in is failing to capture null here, so even if I will tell include nulls, it will still fail. Correct? It is the behavior of unpivot. It doesn't captures it. Got it?
Okay.
So when I have explicitly mentioned here that no, I want nulls included, and that's why now you could see that you have a null value present here, right? Null is present here and null is present here. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other question?
On top of that, one more question. Let's say
Please
null
go
is
ahead.
there. If
Hmm.
if unpivot have blanks as well, then it will capture blank as well.
Blanks,
That
I will explain that blanks part separately. Let me cover this. I will come to that blanks after this. I will explain you that part as well. So far, is this clear?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now, so we have achieved this, and we have written we have derived this what we want here. As per our strategy, so far, so good. We have derived this, right? Okay. Now, what next? What you want to do after this? What I have taught you. As per our strategy, what is the next plan?
We need to find out what are the null values.
Good. Good. In which column?
Data
Data
one.
one.
Very good. Perfect. What is the keyword for that?
Select star from data
We
one.
need to find the null values.
Where
Okay.
data one is
Is null.
null.
Is null.
Correct? That's
Yes.
all. Let me run this. Is this the correct output?
Yeah.
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
Got it? Okay. Now,
Got it.
first of all, I have shown you the very straightforward scenario so that you can also understand that how NPVOT works, right? I know many of you were having few confusions related to NPVOT. Now you understood, and this is the output. But still, we have not solved this question because I have clearly mentioned that you are not allowed to mention the column names, right? Now you can ask a cross question that Tanvir, you are using the column names here, correct? Which you have told in the question that it's not allowed. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
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 Clear, no? Okay. And actually, this is the catch in this question. Otherwise, this question is still simple. Now, see, if this is not the catch, the question is over. We are done for the day, right? But that's the catch, and this is a real scenario. Suppose if you have 30, 40 columns. So do you think I have to write each and every column here? That will become a very hectic task, correct? All right.
Yes. Yes.
Now I'm thinking what to do. So for that, I will take the help of some system tables. I know this concept will be new for you, but fine. Let's try to understand it. Then there is a concept of you. Okay, fine. I will take a pause here. So far, so good, clear to everyone?
Yes.
Tanvir, may I request you to explain line number 13 once again,
Line number 13, this one?
please?
Sure. Here, okay, let me explain you from this. So here I'm telling SQL engine, this one. I'm telling SQL engine that this name, okay, let me explain here. Name, add one, add two are the three columns. Please convert these three columns. You could see name, add one, add two are the three columns, right? I'm telling SQL engine to convert these three columns into three rows. That is why I see name is one row, add one is another row, add two is another row, and term this as columns. Now you might be thinking, Tanvir, this name is getting repeated. It is because we have name for ID1, we have name for ID2, we have name for ID3. So net this name add1, add2, which were the columns, now it is converted in rows. Okay, let me show you one thing. Now see here in this query, let me write it here. Now I will remove name. So which columns I am telling SQL engine to convert from columns into rows?
Add one,
Add one and
It is only
Add one
and
and add two only. Add one and add two only. Now see, it is converting only add one and add two into rows. Clear? Hope this is clear. And then this data one means what all values these columns are holding, what value name is holding, you keep it in the new column whose name should be data one. So in the new column data one, and this all are your wish. If you don't like this column's name, you can write any other thing, fields, attributes, anything, your wish. The new column is data one, and I'm telling in this data one new column, please store the value of this name for this ID one. So for the ID1 name is John. So you see John is getting displayed here. Clear? Is that clear, Naveen? Hello, Naveen, is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall I proceed further? Any other question? Okay, no question.
Yeah, Tanvir.
Oh.
So Tanvir, if we require the output like this, suppose wherever in there is any column is null, right? We are taking the column name like address 1 because address 1 representing the null and the address 2. If we require that if any of the column is null, we need to fetch that particular row. Then
That is what I have done. That
but
particular row I'm
but
showing here.
but here the name is not here, like in the output. The name is not coming up.
Which name you are telling?
Like John and like
Okay. 1 minute.
yeah.
See. Here, as per this question, suppose if this is the output, now it is clear to us that in the ID1 in the add to column, the null is there. Okay. Now, if your question is that no, Tanvir, show me the entire record for this ID1, that is a different question. In that case, then what I will do? I will write a separate query, select a star from this input table where ID equals 1. I will get the complete details. That's a different set of question, right?
Right.
Here, the only intention is we have to find the culprit records where null has been inserted. So when I'm publishing this data, it will be clear that, okay, in ID1 in the address 2 column, there is a null. Now our team will check it that, okay, in ID1, in address 2 here, how the null was inserted. That is the main question here. If you want to display the entire record, we will do that. There are multiple ways we can do it. Okay, not a big deal. What I can do, let me tell you. I will keep this in a CT expression. Okay. And then I will write a query outside of this, select a star from input where ID in, select ID from this CT1. You will get the entire record. We will check it at the end of the session if you will tell. Okay.
Okay.
That's again a good use case. We can discuss over it. First of all, let me complete this one. Okay. Now proceeding further. So far we have, I will remove this now, otherwise you will get confused. Now, I executed this, I got the exact output, but now the question is that you have hard coded these columns here, which you have told it's not allowed. And this is a practical because maybe in a table, if you have more than 40-50 columns, it's not possible to write each and every column explicitly, which can be a very hectic task, right? Okay. For that, what we will do, and that's the main catch of this question. So far, it's simple only. Just unpivot I have written and the basic syntax of unpivot I have used. Okay. Now, there is a system table known as select a star from user underscore tab underscore columns. Let me show you this table first of all. In each and every Oracle database, you'll be having this table name. In other databases, SSMS, I don't know the exact table name. I will check and I will update you. Similarly, in Postgres, there means each and every database, they have this table. So this user tab columns, this will give you detail like what all tables you have created. Like I have created countries table, departments table, employees table, okay, jobs table, jobs history, locations, fund, and all these tables I have created. And for each and every table, the corresponding column name, the data type, data length, and all those things will be there. Okay. Now, in this table, I will tell to the SQL engine that I need the detail of which table?
Input
Input table. I will write here that I need the details for input table. Now, this is the input table, and these are the columns. So I will just write here column name because that is what I want. Okay. So when I will execute this query, I will get this detail of the columns. Got it? But the columns, what you want here, you don't want ID. So then I will write one more condition and column name is not equal to ID. So if I will execute this query, even if I have 40-50 columns, I will get the list of all the columns, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. Now the entire list will be in this vertical fashion, right? But I want a comma after each and everything. I want a comma. Each and every column name is separated by comma. Then for that, now if you remember, each and every
List
batch I
tag.
have taught. Sorry,
List tag operator.
very good. List aggregate operator I have covered. If you remember, list aggregate this, and then I will write here comma. What is the meaning of this? The meaning is it will aggregate, it will convert this rows in a single column, and all this value will be separated by comma. I will request you to go through the recording of list aggregate. I have covered that in each and every batch, I think. Before 2022, I think this aggregator was not there in my syllabus. After that, I have covered. So now you see the output of this. All these values are in a single row, and they are separated by comma. And actually, this is what you want here. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Is this query clear? If it is not clear, feel free and tell me. So this list aggregator, it will only convert the different rows, whatever you're having, in a single column, and all the values are separated by comma. Is this clear, guys?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, sir. In
Okay.
line number 16, you
Hmm.
used user underscore tab underscore columns. That is a system. What
Correct.
is that name, sir?
This is the inbuilt table in the Oracle database. I have not created this. Even when you will install this Oracle SQL Developer, no, you will just run this query, you will find this. This is the inbuilt table in the Oracle platform. And what all tables you will create, automatically it will make a history in that table. And this is also known as metadata, data about data, right?
Yes, sir. You told this.
Correct, yes. So I'm using this table, and from this table, the column names, I executed this query in all the columns. Now here you see, now if you have 40, 50 columns, all will be written here separated by comma. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir, line number 18, column name not equal to ID is there given.
Because here I don't want to include ID, because I have told in the beginning that ID is a primary key of this table. It will not be having null. So I don't want to search null in this ID column. So
Okay.
that is why I'm telling SQL Engine that please exclude ID column.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now what I'm thinking and what are the challenges we will face, now we try to understand it. I am thinking, and generally many software engineers, they have this misconception. Try to understand. I am thinking, generally you might have seen, I have used many a times a query within in operator, and that is known as your subquery. You might have noticed it. I used to write select a star from employee where salary in, and within this again I will write some query, select a salary from some other table, and then I will use it. And I have taught you that this is an example of subquery, query within a query, right? You remember it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Same thing I am thinking here, that these columns I can get from this query, right? So I'm thinking, instead of writing these columns, can I directly write this query here so that my SQL engine will pick it from here? Is my approach clear to you?
Yeah.
It's clear, sir.
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
I will repeat it. 1 minute. These columns are present here. I'm thinking that exactly this sequence of column in this exactly same fashion I can get from this query. And now you guys are blaming me that the way you are explicitly using these columns one by one, which you told is a very hectic task. So I'm thinking directly I will put this query here instead of writing each and every column manually. This will act as a subquery. You all know that, right? And this will work. That's what I'm planning. Okay. Now let me run this. It has thrown error message. Is that clear? And this is the difference between this in and the in Akhil, which you are telling this in. This in, it accepts the subquery here, but this in will not accept because this is the rule in unpivot and pivot both. Within after this in, you cannot write any query. This is not allowed. Is this clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Done. So net you cannot use this query. Okay, so far is this clear? Now see, again, I'm repeating it. My intention is not to just show you the final query and you'll be happy that, okay, if we got the output, that's fine, done for the day. No, try to understand the concepts. What are the relate? Now, how many things we learned from it, right? How we converted the entire different columns into rows with the help of this unpivot. You understood this unpivot, how it works. Then you understood this include nulls, how it works. Then I will show you the blank after this. Okay. Then after this, I taught you that, okay, these columns are there. If you don't have to use it explicitly, you have the system table. Okay. So that's what try to understand the adjoining concepts which I'm trying to transfer during this course, during this session today. So far clear, shall I proceed further?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so now this is the limitation, this is the challenge. Now, after this, I have to enter the world of dynamic SQL. Okay, but please don't get afraid of it. Please, we'll try to make it simple for you. Even if you're not able to understand, at least listen. Okay, this is very simple. And those who are from the PL SQL background or those who have attended the PL SQL class, those who are learning it, you will at least you will understand it very easily. To not be too tough for you. Okay. So I'm going to start the PL SQL part, and I will not go in much in depth. Don't worry. I will try to keep it very simple. Okay. Declare. You know what the section is known as? Declaration section, right?
Section.
Yeah.
Declaration section. I have covered this. Now this is the column list, and this is again section. No, 1 minute. I think I have written this query somewhere. Otherwise, this will take a lot of time for me to write it. Let me check if I have that query ready.
Tanvir, we can't do it in the SQL way, this query.
SQL way, that is what I told you. That's a limitation. Here it will fail then. Okay, maybe I'm not sure if you guys can discover any other way, that will be much appreciated. Okay, but this is the step where it will fail. Maybe I will request you all to think if you can find any other way. Maybe we can achieve it. Okay, but one of the solution which I'm trying to tell you, this is one of the code. Don't get afraid of this big code. I will explain this. Let's check the output first. Add 1, add 2, 2, add 1. Was this the correct output?
Yes, sir.
1, add 2, 2, add 1. Yes, this is the correct output. Now, I will explain you this. Don't worry. Very simple. This is declaration section. You all know. Declaration section is like in any programming language. If you have studied, you declare variables. If you have studied in Java or C or any programming language, in Python, you declare variables. So here I'm declaring this variables. Okay, the different variables, whatever I have, I'm declaring it one by one. Okay. So now here you could see the first variable is v underscore SQL. Okay, so this v underscore SQL, the first variable, this is the data type. What is the task of this data type? We will tell you. This stands for character large object. Ignore it. I will not go into that in depth. What is the data type and all those things. Another variable, this is the data type. This is another variable. This is the data type. Till here, we have used different variables. They have different data types. Okay, var, char, and all those things you all know. Okay, then this is a cursor. This too. This is a cursor. Ignore it for the time being. What is cursor and all those things? Ignore it. I will cover it after some time. This is the begin section. This is known as execution section in PL SQL. I think most of you know this. And this is the main thing where the main execution happens. Now, if I will ask you, what is this query? Can anyone tell me?
Yeah, this is the same. This is used to bypass using the 3 columns and
Correct. This is
get
the
it
same.
automatically.
Correct. This is the same query which I have written here. This one. Clear?
Sir.
Hope this is clear to everyone. This is the same query.
Yeah.
In this, I have written into column list. So what happens in PL SQL? I'm telling that whatever output you are getting from this query, keep that into column underscore list variable, which I have defined here. So when you will execute this query, so you will get this value, no, name, comma, add one, comma, add two. So in this column list variable, this name, comma, add one, comma, add two will be saved. If your table has 50 columns, so all those 50 columns separated by comma will be saved in this variable column underscore list. And if you're using any variable that has to be declared in this declaration section, that is what I have declared here with this data type CLOP. Ignore it. What is this data type? Is this clear till this line? 29 till 41. Any question?
Clear, sir.
Is this clear to everyone so far?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Proceeding further, line number 43. In line number 43, I will not explain this. First of all, try to understand from here till here. Take your time. Is this a new query or the same query I have executed earlier?
Earlier execution.
Earlier, if you will check this query, this one, the same query I have executed, exactly same query I have copied and I have pasted here. The only difference is instead of writing those columns like name, comma, add one, comma, add to what I have written here. Now this where we have saved in this in which variable?
Column.
In this column
List.
underscore list. So that I am using here. This is the game, that's all. And this freedom is given by your PL SQL. So we were struggling with this only, no here, right? You're struggling with this. So with the help of PL SQL, what I have done, the output of this query, I have saved in another variable column underscore list. Now this variable I am directly using here. Ignore this pipe operator. This is concatenation operator. So I'm keeping it directly here. And then I have told where data one is null. That's all. After this is purely the game of cursor that I am opening cursor because the output of this query, it will be stored in this v underscore SQL, which is nothing but when you will run this query, you are getting this output. Where is that? 1 minute. This one output, no? So now this value 1, 2, add 1. So this will be saved in this new variable v underscore SQL. Okay, now because if you remember today I have taught you that this variable, if it has multiple records, it cannot display, then we take the help of cursor. Now this is the total task of cursor. So I don't want to go into this complexity, not sure if you can understand, but this is again very simple. This is example of explicit cursor, which I will cover in the next class. So I'm opening this cursor here and I'm telling what all values has been saved in this vSQL, like 1 add 2 and 2 add 1. Please save that in this v underscore cursor. So it will point to each and every record one by one. And finally, like in PL SQL, this is used to print the value. So it will print the ID, v underscore ID, and v underscore data, which we are using here. Is this clear? Tell me where you have not understood.
The current v underscore current, like 48 and 49. Will you explain that or like?
Sure. I will explain it. But till line number 43, is this clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
35 and 36. That also not clear. Why we
I
declare
will
reference
come to that.
as
You
a-
are right. I have not covered it. I will come to this.
Sir, 35 to 36, sir, please.
I will cover
It is
that.
not
I
clear.
have not
Okay.
covered it. Ignore that till 43. Actually, till 43, ladies and gentlemen, nothing I have done yet. Declaration section, I'm just declaring the values, variables. In begin this query already I have taught you. Right now I have shown you. So the output of this I'm storing in column underscore list variable, and this will be saved in this for this case. And then same query, just I copied and I pasted here. And because this value name comma add one comma add two has been saved in this column underscore list variable, so directly I'm using this variable here. This is the game. Now, the challenge is this query is giving me, when I will execute this query, this will give me two records, one add two and two add one, correct? Agree or not?
Yes.
Agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
this v underscore SQL variable, it has a limitation, sir. It has a limitation, and this is exactly what I have covered in today's PL SQL class. What is the limitation? Who will answer?
It will fetch one row at a time.
One.
Good. It
Yeah.
can store only one record. Same thing I covered in today's class. It cannot
That is-
store more than one record, right? Now here we are telling this v underscore SQL to store the value which you are getting two records. Maybe you can get 10 records or 20 records to store in this v SQL, which it cannot store. So for that, we take the help of cursor. And that is what v underscore CUR is a cursor here. We are telling this v underscore CUR is a cursor. Okay. Now this cursor, what it will do? Now here in this line number 45, we are telling engine that open this cursor. Open means you can tell in a layman term that, okay, please start the task of this cursor for the value which is present in this v underscore SQL. Now in this v underscore SQL, we are giving two records, right? So first of all, the cursor will point to the first record, one add two. And then you are starting a loop here. So in this loop, what you're telling, fetch v underscore CUR. It means the first record fetch from this cursor. So in this cursor, the first record is one comma add two. So this will be fetched, and you are telling to store this in this variables. So one will be stored in this v underscore ID variable, add two will be stored in this v underscore columns variable, null will be stored in this v underscore data variable, and these variables I have defined here in this declaration section. Is that clear? Till line number 48, is this clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Hope this is clear till line number 48 to everyone. Okay. So
here
ID,
only
huh,
fetch is a keyword kind of thing, right?
correct.
Which you
That
use
is the
in
keyword.
list.
That is the keyword. You're right. So we are telling SQL engine fetch the value which is present in this v underscore cur. So in this v underscore cur, currently it will fetch the first record. So this v underscore cur is referring or pointing. That is why it is known as cursor, because it will point to one record at a time. So currently it is pointing to this first record. And the value of this, we are telling to the SQL engine that is stored in these three variables. Why? Because you have three values. One will be
Columns.
stored in v underscore ID. Add two will be stored in this v underscore columns. Null will be stored in this v underscore data one. Got it? And this is, I have defined here, v underscore columns, v underscore data one, v underscore ID. Don't go with the sequence in the declaration section. Here you can declare in any manner, but here the sequence matters. So it works in the respective, you have that respective word in English dictionary, you know, the same works here. So at this state, if I will ask you, what is the value in v underscore ID? Can you tell me?
One.
One. What is the value in v underscore columns?
Add two.
Add
Add
two.
two.
Add two. What is the value in v underscore data one?
Null.
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 Is this clear? Then the
Sir.
next line we are telling SQL engine that in this v underscore cursor, if you don't have any record, you exit this loop. But in this v underscore cursor, currently it has this value. So this condition will be false. Then engine will come to this statement, and here you are telling this is used for the print. You all know, right? In PL SQL, this is to print. What you're trying to print here? ID. This is a message, text message. You are telling ID. What is the variable you are telling? And then hyphen. What is the variable you are telling? To print v underscore ID. Sorry, hyphen is not there. V underscore ID. What you have in V underscore ID here? 1. It will print 1. Then you are telling print V underscore columns. What is in V underscore columns? Add 2.
2.
Then it will print add 2. Then what you're telling to print? V underscore data 1. What we
Null.
have in V underscore data 1? Null. It will print null. Then after this, it will not end the loop. Again, this loop will come, and now this cursor will go to the second record, this one. Now V underscore ID1, what it is having value? Which value
2.
it is having? Very good. 2. V underscore columns, what it has now?
Add 1.
Add 1. V underscore data 1, what it has now?
Null.
Null. Then the engine will come here and it will check whether the cursor has some record or not. Yes, cursor is pointing to this, it has some record. Don't exit the loop. Then it will ask to display. Now what it will display after this? It will display the second record. What is that? 2,
2.
add 1
1. Null.
hyphen null.
Null.
Then again cursor will go to this line.
Thanks.
Fetched value. Now after this, do you have any value?
No.
No. So now the cursor will not point to any record, and when it will come to this statement, exit when V cursor not found. It means if there is no record, exit it. So cursor will exit this loop and it will come here outside this loop to line number 53. 53, you are telling to close the cursor. Actually, this is the syntax. You have to start the cursor, then you have to close the cursor. Like how you start the car and you switch off the car engine, right? Same way. And then this will end. That's all. So net just to handle that variable name. Now see, in this entire code, have I used any variable name? No. Just we have used this system table and this list aggregator and this concept, and we have finally solved it. Hope this is clear to everyone. Okay.
Tanvir, one question on the
Sir,
declaration
35 line.
section.
1 minute. I will answer. Apart from this PL SQL, even if you have not understood it, but I'm expecting those who are a part of the PL SQL batch, they would have understood something here. But if you have not understood, no issues. Till here, at least you have understood or not, till line number 25. Till here, I'm expecting everyone to understand, because here this is nothing new. I have taught NP, list aggregator, and all those things. Okay, and
Clear,
from
sir.
this you can understand many other adjoining concepts. Okay, is PL SQL fine? Maybe once you will join that batch, or maybe we can discuss it again. Now, okay, before that, sorry, someone was asking about the blank. If you have blank, no need for include nulls. So engine will treat it. You will get the blank as well. Is that clear?
Okay.
Who has asked? Someone has asked about blank. No. Do one thing. You insert a record for blank and you check it. You don't have to write include nulls. By default, unpivot will consider blank. You can check it. Okay.
Okay.
Next question. What you're telling? Someone is asking question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, 35 line, sir.
35,
35.
36.
35.
35.
This one?
36, 37.
36,
36.
36, 37.
Oh, okay. Here I will cover this in detail in the PL SQL batch, but here actually what is happening? You are referring this at, okay, this is a particular cursor. You're referring, you're mentioning that this is a particular cursor, T underscore F underscore cursor, what you have written. No? So you're mentioning here that this is a particular cursor type of it. And then below to that, you are referring that this particular T underscore ref underscore cursor, which will be a reference cursor, you are referring this V underscore cur to this. So this code which I have written, okay, so this is the use of reference cursors in PL SQL, which are a type of cursor. So maybe I will explain that in detail when I will explain you in our regular class. It will take some time to explain you reference cursor. Then again, we'll enter the world of implicit and explicit cursor. Okay.
And then
This-
Tanvir, what is like in the row 36?
That is what I'm telling. This is a type of reference cursor. Okay. A reference cursor, it is mentioned as REF cursor. It is like a pointer that points to the result of a particular query what you have written. That is what I told you. First of all, it will point to this. Then it will point to the next one. Okay. And here, unlike a static cursors, what happened? The reference cursors are dynamic. It means that they can be opened for any query at any runtime. Okay, and if you want to declare this reference cursor, this is the syntax, like how you have to use. And the next line, which I have written here, v_cur. So this line declares, so here we are declaring a variable which name is v_cur, and we are telling that this is of the type this one. And what is the type of this? The type of this is reference cursor. So that is what we are mentioning here. So v_cur can now be used to hold the result set of a query, whatever you have, any number of query. So net this v_cur is a reference cursor. So in our regular batch, we will discuss a static cursor and dynamic cursor, reference cursor. We'll discuss it in detail. Okay. Fine then.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in line number 31 here, we have given v_SQL as CLOB, sir. In
Ha, ha.
morning class, I mean, my doubt is, you said we can hold only one value, but there we use only row type, sir. Here we are using CLOB. So,
See
isn't
that-
there a difference for
there
row
is
type
some
and
difference.
CLOB?
There is some difference, yeah. So now keep this discussion because this all will take a lot of time. Okay, we will discuss this in detail in our regular
Okay, sir. Sure.
SQL batch. Okay, this will take time again to discuss. So this CLOB, no, it stands for character large object. Okay, and it is used to store large blocks of a character data if you have any. Because sometimes what happens on a cipher side, we use it because we never know. Maybe this query can result in a huge volume of data. We never know that. Okay, that's why on a cipher side we mentioned this.
Okay, sir.
It has storage, what I can say, privileges, then usage, and a lot of operations you can perform, performance as well. This is very good. Okay. So fine then. Hope you all have learned
Tanvi,
some.
I have a last question, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
So Tanvi, like in this, like we have a 3 columns, like column, data, and ID, right?
Column data. We have derived these 3 columns. Yes.
Right. Dynamically, we are driving this.
Correct.
But in the declare variable, we are defining these 3 columns again to get the value of these 3 columns, right?
That we are doing with the help of this. The output of this query, which will give the combination of all these columns separated by comma. I'm storing that in this column _ list variable, which I have declared here.
Right.
And this directly I'm using it here.
Right. But my question is regarding
Yes.
we have 3 columns different, like V column, V data 1, and
Correct.
VID. In these 3 columns, we are fetching the values of the column we are like segregating over here.
Correct.
And then we are taking from this V cursor. Like if we have more than 3 3 values, like we have a different set of columns, right? Like 30, 40, then how we will get the we will fetch the number of values in this column.
You have to use only these 3 columns here. Why? Because this second column, this columns, this will be having all the values, whatever you have, all the columns, right? Even if you have 50 columns, this will accommodate all the columns, like what I have covered here.
Yeah,
this will be having all the columns. Good question. I think if you're asking this question, it means you have understood. Good question. Yes, you're right. Okay, done.
Yes, sir, I have one question.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, this is out of the context, but yep, if business requirement is like we need to not get any null records from table constraint, we can declare it like these columns does not contain null, right? While declaring
here
schema
here the question is to mention the columns which has null. That is the question here.
Okay.
That is the question here, to find the columns which has null, because nulls here I told in the beginning that it is a mandatory columns. The business is expecting that there should not be any null records. So that is why we are testing that, okay, if any column is having null. So now if this is the output, so our team will do some analysis that how in this add to column for this particular ID null was inserted. Where is the mistake? They will start testing it. Okay, so that is the intention here.
Okay. Yes, and when compared with normal SQL, this PL SQL seems like for this exact problem statement, it does not have any. Seems like we don't have any edge when compared with normal SQL. Is there any limitation between those two?
Yes, limitation is there. Today only I have covered in my PL SQL batch. So one of the example you could see, it is like a dynamic. You are storing one very beautiful. If you're asking this question, a very beautiful answer I can give. In the normal SQL, have you seen anywhere I have used variable?
No, along with variable, we don't have any loops as well. So
correct, loops as well. It's not there. Good. Only in recursive city you have some looping features, but again it has few restrictions, right? But you see here the benefit of PL SQL. I'm using variable. I'm using loop, right? So that's what. Now the output of this entire SQL query I have kept in this variable, and I'm using this variable somewhere else. So that's what this PL SQL is required, and that's why it's known as procedural language. That's the reason. Hope this is clear.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay.
Sir, I have one question here.
Okay,
So
okay. Tell me.
Yeah, in v underscore SQL that we have written the SQL query, but after in operator we have used you have used that column list, correct? So why you are using that pipe operator before and after column list?
It is because pipe operator is used as a concatenate operator. This one. Okay, so this is concatenating the values. I've covered this in today batch. So this is for the concatenation of values. So what I'm telling here to the SQL engine, that in this column list, whatever values is present, you concatenate it and then show it together. If I will not write pipe operator here now, so what will happen? It will throw error message because engine will not be able to concatenate the different values, whatever is present, whatever is coming from this columns, add one, add two, or whatever columns you have. And that's why it will throw error message. Let me show you that. Suppose if I'm removing this. Now, if I will run this query, it will throw error. Oh, 1 minute. See, it has thrown error message, right? So that's why this concatenate operator is mandatory, because we are telling SQL engine that what are different values you have. You have to concatenate all the values and then you have to show it here.
Okay.
Okay.
But what if we pass the manual values like whatever the present in the column list right now, means from above query that ID name comma add one comma add two. So still we have to use the pipe operator, or means directly we can pass it there.
Directly you are passing, no? You are directly passing, but here you're using this from this dynamic query, dynamic SQL. That's why it is the compulsion that we have to use this concatenate operator here. That's the reason. Because here you are dynamically building a SQL query, and the column list, it contains the different columns, whatever you have. And suppose if you're using this in a larger SQL statement, okay. So in that case, what will happen if you will not use this concatenation operation? So it will not take the different columns, okay, separated by comma. Even this is generating it. But in that case, you have to concatenate it. We are telling to the SQL engine that please concatenate all these values and then use it here. You are thinking that, okay, this is already separated by comma, so directly I can write column underscore list. But no, you have to mention here that, okay, I want these values to be concatenated. And because you're using this concatenation, so you have to keep this within this inverted quotes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Tanvir, I have one question. Like in the above query, we are passing the same thing like in the in operator. Then why it is behaving differently? Like when we pass the in operator, like in the
line number
above query.
44.
Oh no, the above one. Yeah. Here.
This one?
Yeah, right. Here.
So here, because unpivot, no, in unpivot and pivot both, if you're using this in operator, it doesn't handle this subquery. This is not allowed.
What is the reason, like why it is like doing this?
I think, good question. I think this is the internal architecture of this unpivot and pivot. Okay. Still, I was thinking that it should accept it. Okay, because many instances even I have faced in pivot, we have a lot of columns. And actually, this was the reason we have to just explore this entire PL SQL, right? If this would have worked, we don't have to explore this. So, so this is, I cannot tell this is a limitation, but the engineers or the scientists, whoever has designed this, there must be some reason for it, right? That why this is a limitation to this. Okay, but it doesn't work here. Any subquery you try,
I
will
think
not
the
work.
reason might be because of the transformation of the data, right?
Maybe, yeah, we are
Because
doing
we are
the pivot.
transforming from row to column and column to row. With that, we are trying to apply some other subquery operation. So I
Okay,
think, as I
maybe,
think you
maybe.
mentioned, Tanvir, like for two actions simultaneously, we are using PL SQL, right? I think that is the reason we need to go to that route.
Maybe,
That's what I
maybe.
understood.
I will
Yeah.
also check it. Good question, but maybe this might be this. I'm not sure, but yes, this is a learning for us that you cannot use it here. Okay, fine. I think you all have enjoyed the session. Good question. I appreciate it. Whenever the session is interactive, so it proves that the participants were interested. So good. So shall we stop? Shall we stop now? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Okay. Thanks
Thank
a lot,
you.
everyone. Thanks for joining. Take
Thank
care.
you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, Tanvir.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Bye.